So like, I wake up this morning and I'm chillaxed and I'm sitting there, I'm laying in my bed, there's somebody else with me, so I'm kind of like not really paying attention to the rest of the world, like in my own little bubble. I don't need to hear the screaming outside. I'm there, you know, just in bed for a while longer, and it keeps going. Like there's this yelling going on, and it sounds like a drill sergeant and like enlisted grunt people like yelling. And I'm pretty close to the Naval Academy base here. It's like just a few blocks away. So that's their training grounds, and I expect that sort of noise over there, right? But this is a few blocks away from there. I never hear that sort of noise unless they're like blowing off fireworks or something goofy like that, which they've done. But it keeps going on, and it's like 10:30, 11:30, somewhere in that, like 10 to 11 o'clock or so. And I'm like, all right, I gotta go check this out. I gotta see what these PT boys are doing. And they're over here. Look over there at the camera. Just that brown building. Look at that brown building. They're in that building on the other side of it, on the diagonal corner from here, and they are getting haircuts. And they are doing like some kind of memorization drill where the drill instructor will say like a couple, like an acronym or a couple of letters or a word, and then they have to yell something back. And as I walk over there, like I walk from here to there, and they're not yelling at that moment, they're getting their haircuts or whatever. And I get to the door and I look in and I see the two grunts getting their hair cut, and then the drill instructor in his dress browns, and I'm like, are you guys the ones making all this noise? And you know, I get, you know, he kind of immediately starts to like know that he's going to have to defend his position of being so noisy, and my tone wasn't quite so, I mean it wasn't mean, but it was casual, but it was forceful. And he starts to like explain his order, and I say, well, that, you know, I'm just like waving a hand through there. I'm like, you guys need to knock it off. Like, I woke up feeling like I was in the middle of a war zone this morning, and I'm not having it. And he goes back to defend. He's like, well, we're just doing it. We're going about our business. This is, you know, official business. I'm like, I don't care the noise ordinance here in Corvallis, and I will call the cops on you. To a drill instructor, like, you need to stop. And I didn't give him any choice. I told him that he was stopping. He, you know, he tried to defend his position a few times, and I just kept repeating that he would be stopping, that I would call the cops, that I would come back, and he said he's going to go about his business or whatever. So I walk back, and there's like one more response that one of the grunts yells back at him, and then it's it. They're quiet, and I go, and there's no noise coming from over there, and I walk back over, and like I'm coming up the corner, and I hear him talking to one of the grunts, and it's in this calm, like humble voice, like he's just been whipped, like a little child that's just been spanked or something. And he's like, okay, I want you to do this, and this. And I go over there, and my intent of going back there again was just to say, thank you. I appreciate that you stopped yelling. That was all I wanted to say. And the woman that owns the barbershop, she says, I said, thank you. I really appreciate that you stopped. And she said, goodbye. I said, you've interrupted our business. Goodbye. And that's exactly what she said. No more, no less. And I said, I see how it is, neighbor. And I walked away. I went home. I came home and I was like, they're over there waging a war, and they get to do whatever they want to wage war. I want to go wage peace. So I go, and I roll around and I mumble around a bit, and I think about it, and I'm like, I'm going to get one of my drums, and I'm going to go wage peace. It's cool. And so I get my drum, and I got a yoga mat, and I got a bottle of water, and I'm walking over there, and these are cool. I'll grab one before the video's over. I'm walking over there, and it's just as the little group of like 5 grunts and the drill instructor are walking back to base. And I'm like 60 feet behind him, and I'm like, this is perfect. I'm going to follow him back to the base. It's going to be awesome. We're like defending my territory there. You guys come and wage war on my block? I'll chase you out with my piece. It'd be great. My drum, it even looks like it has a peace sign on it. It's hilarious. I'll go get it right now. So this is my drum, right? Kind of looks like it has a peace sign on it. And I'm carrying this thing with my yoga mat and my water bottle, and that drill instructor, he's walking and he's saying things to the guys, and they're like, blah, 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 blah. And they're doing their thing, and he keeps repeating the same thing over and over again. I can tell he's sort of like losing out on creativity, like he's not getting it, right? And so they're walking over there, and I'm like 60 feet behind him, and he's like telling them to walk faster. So I like start walking a little faster, and he gets pretty close to the base, and he starts going like Semper Fidelis, what does that mean? And I forget what the fuck Semper Fidelis means, but it basically means be a sheep and follow orders, you know, or whatever, because they have to say back something else when he says Semper Fidelis. And they're going over there, and they go around, they cross the railroad tracks, and go back to the base like a good little soldier would do, following, you know, walking where you're supposed to walk. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to show them that I'm here for them, that I'm not just walking down the road. So I hop over the little fence, and I sit down in the grass by the railroad tracks. And I'm like across the street, across the railroad tracks away from them, and they got their doors open, and there's all this yelling come out of the front doors. And they're yelling, but I'm straight across the front door. And I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna sit down, I'm gonna sit on the ground on my yoga mat, and I'm gonna sit like this. I'm just close my eyes. I'm just sitting there holding my drum, just like kind of getting ready, get my headspace ready, so that like actually have their plan for these guys. And one of the drill instructors comes, and he's standing in the door, he's standing at attention like this, and I open my eyes just enough to see him, and he sees that I look at him. I close my eyes again, I sit there for a while longer. He like goes to reach for the door, and he's like, well, no, he's not doing anything, and he doesn't close the door. He stands there for a little bit longer, and then he closes the door and he goes in. And I'm like, well, if they can't exist in a place where my voice is free to be spoken, they're going to come into my world and speak in their way and expect that I'm going to tolerate it, and then they can't even continue and conduct their business with my voice there, and I'm not saying anything. I haven't said a word. I haven't played a note on the drum. I haven't said a word, but they close the doors. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna walk across the street. I walk across the street. I follow the, go across the crosswalk, walk back. I sit down, and the guy comes out, and he's sitting right front, and I put my yoga mat down, and like I just walk up, and it's like, I'm in the sidewalk right here, right? Like this is their entrance. He's like, I asked you to move along, and I said, I don't believe you have the legal authority to tell me that. And he says some other stuff, and I said, you're waging war, and I'm waging peace. And I sit there for a second, and then I start playing. I think I played a little bit before he closed the door, so I just start playing. Go on and on like that for a while. Very emotional sort of moment for me. I wish I'd had a recording of it. It'll never happen again that way. And mind you, all this happened like half hour ago, so this is all fresh in my mind. He tells me that if I'm not going to leave, that he's going to call the campus police and ask me to leave. And I say, well, I'm on the sidewalk, and I don't believe you have the legal authority or right to do that, so you go ahead. And he does, and they show up, and some kind of cruiser pulls up and parks there, and I don't even look at him. I don't give him the time of day. I just keep playing. I don't drop rhythm. I'm just playing, and I'm like...
And you're right here in front of your own place.
No. This is over right in front. This is right in front of the doors of that Quonset hut. This is like that big.
Oh, okay.
I'm sitting like from here to there to their front doors, like up in their face, waging peace. Like, believe me, like they came over and they were in my little block area waging their war, but I came and I pushed them back and I said, "You don't come here no more." And with that attitude, you don't scream at people over here. You scream at people in your own place. And you know what? I'm gonna make it so it feels a little bit awkward to scream at people there too. Because I'll tell you what, the interesting thing I noticed was I was sitting across the street in the railroad tracks and the doors were open, and I sat there. I held the drum, and I just was like, I don't even have to say anything. Just radiate peace. They're in there and they're making a war, and they know how fake that is and how bullshit that is and how that's not getting them anywhere. I was like, I'm going to just sit here and radiate peace. And the noise level in that place dropped in half in like 10 seconds. And it continued to go down until he closed the door. And I came across the street, and I sat there and played. And when he opened the door, there's not nearly as much screaming going on, not nearly as much anger. That's fine. They open this door and I call the cops. The cops show up and I keep playing, and even as he starts to talk to me, I'm still playing with the band. And finally, you know, out of respect, I put the drum down. I start talking to him, and he starts telling me that I need to move along, and I tell him that I don't think he knows what the rules are, and that he needs to cite the rules. And I'm being super friendly with him the whole time, but I'm standing up for my rights. I'm not letting him push me around. I'm treating officer of the law as an equal human being, as if he doesn't really have any authority over me, because I know the law, and I'm not gonna break a law just to make a point. I will make a point within my freedom, and I told them that their job wouldn't matter for shit if it wasn't for people like me, and they all agreed with me. That was the hilarious part. They all said that. So the conclusion to this, the funny punchline is they told me that I needed to move along, and I said, you know what, you go ahead and make me a martyr. You know, is this how this is going to go? I should give him the handcuff wrist, the whole fucking shebang. I mean, in this telling of the story, it makes it sound like so cliche or whatnot, but I was such a sweetheart to every one of those officers the whole time. It was so much fun to have that interaction. Like, I had so much fun. Like, I told them to turn on the recorder, and I was like, is this going to be on YouTube later? So what ends up happening is I tell them that I know that I'm within my rights to be on the sidewalk, and they're like, well, we don't want you to do anything. I'm like, you go ahead and arrest me if you think I'm being a criminal, being on the sidewalk here. And they end up, the Naval office ends up offering me free access to their corner on their private property, so that way I don't block the sidewalk. So I can go back and play my drum on their little corner any stinking time I want, and they'll let me. I should have gotten it in writing, but now I have it on video.
Let's go right now.
I'm about to. See, the thing is they all sat around. The cops, they're like, we don't know what to do with this guy. Like, he's pushing back. Like, he's not allowing his freedom to be stomped on like we would like to do. And they were confused. They're like, oh my God, we're trying to stomp on this guy, but it's hot. I can't stomp on something that's hot. He's on fire. He's gonna push back. It's gonna melt my boot or something. Oh my God. So they stood around and they were joking with each other, and I think that they were just standing there waiting for me to leave, because they knew that if they stood there, that I'd start to think that they were running my records or whatever. I gave them my name. I resisted giving them my name. I was like, I don't think I have to do that right now, dude. And I said, well, you know, this is how I'm doing my job. And I'm like, you know what? I tell you what, I treat officers of law as every other human being, and I don't think you're treating me right now as if I'm any other human being. I don't like to be treated that way. You don't have any authority over me to demand my name or anything else. I haven't done anything wrong. And there's no crime here. And he's like, well, I am in a position of authority. And I said, well, yeah, that's fine, but that doesn't mean I have to treat you like that. That's not what exactly, I didn't say that at all, but that was the attitude. That was definitely the attitude. So, yeah, let's go play some drums. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to film that? I think it'll be fun. I wonder if they'll call the cops again.
Let's go find out.
All right, hit that stop button.
Okay.